to the mission. We're moving out.
2025 can effectively be called the year of the Predator revival because we have two Predator movies coming out this year. The animated anthology titled Predator, Killer of Killers, and the live-action Predator Badlands. And from the looks of it, they look promising. That's why in today's video, we shall be talking about all the Predator and Alien vs Predator games that have come out through the years. But before we get started, like this video and subscribe to our channel for more gaming goodness. Now, let's start the hunt. Predator-only games Predator
1987. Kicking off the list, we have the OG, the granddaddy of all Predator games, a pixelated jungle fever dream that somehow squeezed onto every 8-bit and 16-bit screen from the Amstrad CPC to the Amiga, NES, MSX, and beyond.
The game casts you as Dutch, the iconic protagonist from the film, but with a twist. Your team is already toast, and you're left to fend off gorillas, creepy critters, and the titular Predator. Gameplay is classic side-scrolling action. Think run, jump, shoot, but with a twist. You start with nothing but your fists, or a basic rifle depending on the version. And you'll find weapons like machine guns, grenades, and, if you're lucky, something heavy duty, but you can usually only carry one at a time. The title distinguishes itself through its atmosphere. The Amiga and Atari ST versions, in particular, deliver a surprisingly immersive experience for the era, with moody sound design and visuals that evoke the film's jungle setting. The game isn't a straightforward adaptation, but rather an interpretation that focuses on the survival horror elements of the story. It's challenging, sometimes frustrating, but undeniably memorable for its ambition. While not as polished as later entries in the franchise, Predator 1987 remains an interesting artifact. It's a snapshot of how early developers approached licensed games. And for those who grew up with these systems, it's a nostalgic reminder of a time when movie tie-ins were as much about experimentation as they were about entertainment. Predator 2, 1990. As a rail shooter, this game casts you in the role of Lieutenant Mike Harrigan, tasked with navigating a city under siege by both violent gangs and the elusive extraterrestrial hunter. The premise is simple: survive waves of enemies, manage your ammunition, and keep an eye out for the Predator, who makes sporadic, unpredictable appearances throughout. Gameplay is brisk and linear, with players aiming and firing at oncoming threats as the screen scrolls forward. The mechanics are reminiscent of iconic arcade shooters, offering a straightforward but engaging experience. The inclusion of the Predator's thermal vision mode adds a layer of tension, as you must quickly switch between standard and infrared views to spot your otherworldly foe. The game's urban setting and varied enemy types help differentiate it from the jungle-based original, and its adherence to the film's gritty atmosphere is commendable. Its most compelling feature remains its faithful recreation of the movie's tone and its willingness to experiment with the franchise's formula. The graphics are chunky but charming, and the sound effects, especially the Predator's iconic clicks, are spot on. It's not the most complex game, but it's got that early 90s arcade energy that's hard to resist. While it may not be as ambitious as later entries, the game stands as a solid, if underappreciated, chapter in the Predator gaming catalogue. Predator 2, 1990 to 1992. The Sega ports of Predator 2 offer a fascinating glimpse into how platform-specific design shaped Predator games in the early 90s. Across the Master System, Game Gear, and Mega Drive/Genesis, each version interprets the urban jungle of the film with its own technical and gameplay nuances. The Genesis Mega Drive version is particularly notable for its isometric perspective, which gives the action a strategic edge, as you navigate the streets of Los Angeles, searching for hostages while evading gangsters and the ever-present threat of the Predator itself. Gameplay centers on Lieutenant Mike Harrigan's mission to rescue civilians before the Predator can claim them. The tension is palpable as the Predator stalks both you and your objectives, appearing intermittently as a shimmering, barely visible threat. The Genesis version stands out for its slick controls, big levels, and the ability to strafe, making you feel like a true action hero. The Master System and Game Gear versions are similar, but lean harder on the arcade action, with auto-scrolling levels and a more aggressive Predator. What makes these versions legendary is their ability to constantly keep you on your toes. The Predator isn't just a boss at the end, he's always there, hunting you and your hostages, and seeing those red markers move across the screen is legitimately creepy.
While not as celebrated as some of Sega's original franchises, these adaptations are worthy of attention for fans of the Predator series. Predator 2004. At a time when mobile gaming was still in its adolescence, India Games took on the ambitious task of translating the visceral thrill of the Predator franchise onto handsets, no small feat given the technical constraints of early 2000s mobile hardware. The result is a side-scrolling action title that, while modest in scope, demonstrates an admirable grasp of the source material's essence. Players assume the role of a Yautja warrior dispatched to Earth, tasked with eliminating human threats across a series of linear, left-to-right stages. The game's mechanics are straightforward. Navigate through enemy-laden environments, dispatch adversaries with a plasma caster or wrist blades, and occasionally activate the Predator's infamous invisibility. The controls, though limited by the era's hardware, are responsive and thoughtfully mapped, ensuring that even the most frantic encounters remain manageable. Visually, Predator on mobile is a product of its time. Sprite-based characters move across compact color, limited background. Yet the design team cleverly leverages the Predator's silhouette and distinct weaponry to maintain a sense of authenticity. The game's pacing is brisk, with escalating difficulty that rewards quick reflexes and strategic use of abilities. What distinguishes this entry is its fidelity to the Predator's mythos, despite the platform's constraint. For many players, it was their first opportunity to embody the alien hunter on a portable device, and the experience remains a testament to India Games' ability to distill a blockbuster property into a compelling, bite-sized adventure. Predator Concrete Jungle 2005. Possibly the best Predator game in terms of narrative and ambition, this game casts you as Scarface, a predator who royally screws up during a mission in the 1930s and ends up leaving his tech behind for humans to exploit. Fast forward a century, and you're back in the dystopian city of Neonopolis in 2030, tasked with cleaning up your mess and reclaiming your honor. Gameplay is a mix of stealth, brutal melee, and ranged combat. You'll stalk, hunt, and execute enemies in some of the most gloriously gory ways possible, ripping spines, splitting bodies, and even juggling foes in the air. There's a surprising amount of variety. You can use vocal mimicry to lure unsuspecting victims, set traps and mines, and even grab enemies to use as human shields or to deactivate security systems. The city itself is your playground, with rooftops, streets, and hidden corners to explore. What truly makes Concrete Jungle a treat for fans is its commitment to the atmospheric fidelity of the Predator universe. The game oozes a dark, gritty cyberpunk vibe, and the sense of being an unstoppable alien hunter is unmatched. It's not perfect. Repetitive missions, some frustrating level design, and a lack of checkpoints can test your patience. But for admirers of the source material, it's a cult classic, packed with lore, unlockable costumes, and even a few surprise xenomorph encounters late in the game. Predator: The Duel 2008. Set within the confines of Terminal City, a high-security prison, the game casts you as a young predator seeking retribution for a slain predecessor. The narrative is straightforward, serving primarily as a backdrop for a series of side-scrolling action segments. The gameplay is a mix of side-scrolling action and light platforming, with plenty of shooting and slashing to keep things spicy. You'll blast, slice, and stomp your way through waves of soldiers and security bots using quintessential Predator gear like wrist blades and plasma caster. What stands out is the game's pacing and variety. Levels are concise and well-structured, ensuring that sessions remain brisk and engaging. The occasional inclusion of Duke, a human ally, introduces welcome diversity to the gameplay. Though these segments are relatively brief, visuals are basic but effective, with character sprites and environments that evoke the franchise's gritty atmosphere. From a technical standpoint, Predator: The Duel is competently executed. Its design is mindful of the mobile platform, prioritizing accessibility and short play sessions. While the game may not break new ground, it succeeds in delivering a satisfying Predator experience within its context. Reviews at launch, such as Pocket Gamer's 60% rating, acknowledged its above-average quality for mobile titles of the time. Predators, 2010. The mobile landscape of the early 2010s saw a number of licensed action games, but few managed to capture the essence of their source material as effectively as Predators did for the timeless sci-fi franchise. The plot is simple. You play as a predator dropped into a jungle, and later other environments, where you hunt down humans, some of whom are elite mercenaries and soldiers, so don't expect a walk in the park. As you progress through 31 levels, you unlock new weapons, upgrades, and ability, from the archetypal plasma caster and combistic to thermal vision and invisibility. The gameplay is a slick mix of action and strategy. You slash, shoot, and dash your way through waves of enemies, but you've got to manage your energy, health, and special abilities wisely. From a technical standpoint, Predators was notable for its well-optimized touch controls and smooth performance on both iOS and Android devices. The visual design, while not groundbreaking, was competent and atmospheric, with detailed jungle settings and weather effects that helped immerse players in the Predators world. The game's soundtrack and sound effects further contributed to the tension and excitement of the hunt. Critical reception at the time was generally positive. Reviewers praised the intuitive control, satisfying combat, and the sense of empowerment that came from playing as the Predator. The game received a Metacritic score of 70 out of 100 for its iOS version, with IGN awarding it an 8.5 out of 10 for its polished gameplay and faithful adaptation of the franchise's theme. Predators, 2010. Developed by Gamesoft, this game's a whole different beast from the Angry Mob Games version of Predator. Set in environments inspired by the film's Alien game preserve, you assume the role of the Predator, tasked with hunting down elite human adversary. The gameplay is a mix of side-scrolling action, stealth, and quick, brutal melee attack. You'll use signature weapons like wrist blades and plasma casters, and the controls are intuitive, making it easy to pick up and play in short bursts, ideal for mobile gaming of the time. Visually, the game is competent for its platform, with detailed sprites and atmospheric backgrounds that evoke the film's jungle setting. The sound design is particularly noteworthy, with the Predator's terrifying clicking noises lending authenticity to the experience. While the experience lacks the depth and complexity of later titles, it compensates with a focused, no-frills approach that captures the essence of being a hunter from another world. From a critical perspective, Predators, 2010, by Gameloft is a solid, if unremarkable, entry. It delivers exactly what it promises, a quick, engaging action game that lets you step into the Predator's boots for a few minutes at a time. While it may not stand out in a crowded field of mobile adaptation, it remains a competent and enjoyable diversion for fans of the franchise. Predator: The Great Hunt, 2010. Serving as one of the several other Predator games inspired by the Predator movie, this title was designed for feature phones and early Java-compatible devices, offering a traditional 2D beat-em-up experience with a Predator twist. The plot is lean and mean. You're a predator on a mission to take down the most dangerous humans on the planet, all set in the familiar, deadly environments from the movie. The gameplay is quintessential 2D beat-em-up action. You move left to right, punching, slashing, and occasionally unleashing your wrist blades or plasma caster to clear out waves of soldiers and mercenaries. The controls are simple: directional pad for moving and a couple of buttons for attacking and jumping, making it perfect for quick sessions on the go. Each level ramps up the challenge, throwing tougher enemies and mini-bosses your way, and you'll need to use your alien tech wisely to survive. What makes The Great Hunt stand out is its straightforward, no-frills approach. There's no complicated upgrade system or sprawling open world, just you, your prey, and a jungle full of bad guys. The graphics are chunky but charming, and the action is fast and satisfying. While it may not be remembered as a landmark release, the game is a solid example of how licensed properties were adapted for mobile platforms in the pre-smartphone era. Predator We Are, 2018. This game arrived at a time when virtual reality was still finding its footing in the mainstream, and the prospect of stepping into the boots of an elite mercenary, or indeed the Predator itself, was a tantalizing one for fans of the franchise. The game offers 3 main ways to play. In the single-player campaign, you're an elite soldier leading a pair of NPCs through intense, movie-style set pieces, jungles in Panama, and claustrophobic corridors in a Siberian secret base. You've got a full arsenal of 80s firepower, assault rifles, shotguns, a .50 cal Desert Eagle, and even a chain gun, because nothing says "Welcome to the jungle" like a bullet storm. As the Predator in Rampage mode, you switch sides and get to use all the classic Alien tech: thermal vision, cloaking, plasma casters, and wrist blades for some spine-ripping fun. Multiplayer lets you and your friends decide who's the hunter and who's the hunted, with one player as the Predator and others as soldiers trying to survive. What sets Predator VR apart is its commitment to atmosphere. The environments are dense and moody, the sound design is immersive, and the moment-to-moment gameplay captures the essence of what made the original film so memorable. While the game did not receive the level of attention it perhaps deserved, owing in part to corporate changes at Fox, it remains a standout VR title for fans of the series. Predator Hunting Grounds, 2020. This is the first major Predator game in a decade, and it finally brought the franchise's legendary hunt into the world of modern multiplayer mayhem. The game leverages the popularity of asymmetrical multiplayer, a format where one player takes on the role of the Predator, while up to 4 others join forces as elite commandos, dubbed the Fire Team. The core gameplay revolves around a tense, jungle-based cat-and-mouse dynamic. The Fire Team's objectives vary, ranging from retrieving sensitive intel to sabotaging enemy operations or rescuing key personnel. Meanwhile, the Predator player must use a robust arsenal, including wrist blades, plasma casters, cloaking technology, and thermal vision, to track, stalk, and ultimately eliminate the human squad. The Predator's abilities, such as leaping through the trees and cloaking, are satisfyingly authentic to the source material and add a layer of strategy to every encounter. The core loop makes the game truly addictive, especially when the Predator goes full rage mode at the end, forcing the Fire Team to fight for survival as they wait for extraction. The game nails the atmosphere, with lush jungle, the iconic Predator theme, and those spine-tingling clicks that mean you're about to have a very bad day. Plus, there's a loot crate system for customization, and you can even unlock characters like Dutch, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Isabel from the film. That said, the game is not without its flaws. Some critics have pointed out that the gameplay can become repetitive over time, and the overall depth may not satisfy those seeking a more robust single-player experience. However, when the matchmaking works and the tension is at its peak, Predator Hunting Grounds delivers a compelling, if sometimes uneven, multiplayer experience. Alien vs. Predator games. Alien vs. Predator, 1993. This beat-em-up drops you onto the planet Vega 4, where a human colony's distress signal is picked up not by Earth, but by a passing Predator ship. Sensing worthy prey, the Yautja head down for a hunt, and you get to be the hunter. The gameplay is vintage side-scrolling beat-em-up action. You punch, kick, and throw your way through waves of alien, using your Predator's signature weapons like the Plasma Caster, Combistic, and Smart Disc. The Plasma Caster is your big gun. Charge it up, and you can wipe out a whole screen of enemies, but you're left vulnerable while charging. The Combistic and Smart Disc are powerful, but limited, and you'll find them dropped by enemies. Cloaking devices pop up occasionally, making you temporarily invincible and invisible. A nice nod to the movie, though the wrist blades are MIA, which feels like a missed opportunity. Where the game falls short is in its limited move set and enemy variety. You'll fight the same few alien variants for most of the game, and the combat can feel repetitive and simplistic compared to other beat-em-ups of the era. The bosses are a highlight: creative, mutated aliens gestated in animals like sharks, bats, and apes. But these fights drag on thanks to massive health bars. The graphics and character design are solid for the time, with detailed sprites and smooth animation, but the overall experience is let down by shallow gameplay and a lack of depth. Alien vs. Predator: The Last of His Clan, 1993. The Game Boy was never short on licensed fare, but Alien vs. Predator: The Last of His Clan stands out as one of the more ambitious attempts to translate a blockbuster sci-fi rivalry into a portable format. Released in 1993, this action platformer is set in the year 2593, following a lone predator on the planet Alpha Centauri 3 as he seeks to avenge his fallen kin against a relentless xenomorph threat. Gameplay is a mix of platforming and action. Players navigate through 7 stages of varied environments, each populated by a range of alien type, from facehuggers to full-grown drone. The Predator's arsenal is well represented, including wrist blades, a cutting disc, a laser cannon, and bombs, along with a cloaking device that offers brief moments of invisibility. Each weapon is suited to different scenarios, and resource management becomes crucial as supplies are limited. What distinguishes The Last of His Clan is its commitment to atmosphere and tension. The Predator's solitary struggle is palpable, and the game does a commendable job of evoking the sense of being a lone hunter in a hostile environment. While the narrative is minimal, the gameplay loop is compelling, and the challenge will appeal to fans of traditional action platform. In retrospect, Alien vs. Predator: The Last of His Clan is an underrated entry in the franchise's video game history. It may not have the polish or recognition of later AvP titles, but it remains a notable example of how a strong license and thoughtful design can produce a memorable experience, even on modest hardware. Alien vs. Predator, 1994. This was the title that deftly marries two of science fiction's most enduring franchises with Capcom's signature flair for action and design. Released at a time when arcades were still a cultural mainstay, this game distinguished itself not only through its license, but also through its robust gameplay and technical polish. The plot is quintessential Capcom. Earth's been invaded by aliens, and a rogue military faction is using them as weapons. Enter our heroes: 2 cyborg Marines, Major Dutch Schaefer and Lieutenant Lin Kurosawa, plus 2 Predators, Hunter and Warrior, ready to take out the trash. You get to pick your favorite and jump right into the chaos. Gameplay is pure side-scrolling beat-em-up bliss. You've got 3 buttons: punch, jump, and shoot, and a massive variety of weapons to pick up, from flamethrowers and grenade launchers to the Predator's trademark plasma casters and spears. Each character feels unique. Dutch is slow but strong, Kurosawa is quick with her sword, and both Predators are fast, deadly, and look amazing doing it. However, what makes the game a marvel of its time is its cooperative play. Supporting up to 3 players, the game fosters camaraderie and chaos, as friends work together to fend off hordes of enemies and confront screen-filling bosses. The result is an experience that is as much about shared excitement as it is about individual skill. While not underrated among enthusiasts, Alien vs. Predator is widely regarded as one of the best beat-em-ups of its era. It remains a standout example of how to adapt licensed properties into compelling interactive experiences. Alien vs. Predator, 1994. Released for the Atari Jaguar, this game was so ahead of its time, it's still considered the crown jewel of the Jaguar's library. However, what truly stands out is the ability to choose between 3 wildly different campaigns: Marine, Predator, or Alien, each with its own goals, abilities, and playstyle, making it one of the earliest games to truly capture the spirit of both franchises. If you pick the Marine, you're in for a straight-up survival horror experience. Your mission? Set the base to self-destruct and escape before everything blows sky high. Along the way, you'll face both relentless aliens and stealthy predators, all while managing limited ammo and health. Play as the predator and you get to be the hunter. With a full arsenal, plasma caster, wrist blades, cloaking, and thermal vision, you're tasked with tracking down and defeating the alien queen. However, the alien campaign is the wildest of all. You're tasked with rescuing the queen from the predator ship, using speed, agility, and brutal close-range attacks. Claw, tail whip, and the classic jaw strike. Despite the impressive graphics, sound effects, and controls, the game wasn't all sunshine and roses. The frame rate can be choppy, and the environments can look repetitive, but the sheer variety in gameplay, the faithful movie references, and the tension-filled atmosphere make Alien vs. Predator a must-play for fans of the genre. Aliens vs. Predator, 1999. Since this game was also made by Rebellion Developments, it shares a lot of similarities with the Atari Jaguar version released in 1994, which upset many people as they assumed it to be a remake of the same game. However, that was not true, as the 1999 version for the Microsoft Windows and Mac OS was more like a sequel, or to frame it better, it was like an expanded version of the 1994 game with new levels, weapons, and a different narrative. Here, you also get the ability to choose between 3 different campaigns. You can choose to play as Colonial Marine, Predator, and Alien, with their own wildly different campaigns and playstyle. Moreover, the most significant leap was its multiplayer feature, which offered various game types, including Deathmatch, Species Deathmatch, Tag, Last Man Standing, and Cooperative Survival, each having a different gameplay and goal, making each playthrough fun and engaging. Upon launch, the game received favorable reviews, with IGN praising the game for its unique gameplay with 3 different characters and for being fun and terrifying at the same time. Aliens vs. Predator 2, 2001. Released at a time when first-person shooters were increasingly focused on bombastic action, this title distinguished itself with a carefully crafted atmosphere and a commitment to evoking the unique tone of its source material. In contrast to Aliens vs. Predator, 1999, which featured 3 separate parallel campaigns for the Alien, Predator, and Marine, each with its own independent storyline and set of levels, this game wove the 3 campaigns together into a single, overlapping narrative, with events from each perspective overlapping and influencing the others, creating a more cohesive and interconnected experience. While both games allowed you to play as Alien, Predator, or Marine, each with unique abilities and playstyle, AvP 2 expanded and refined these mechanics. For example, the Alien in AvP 2 could toggle wall walking on and off and had a new pounce ability for attacking and navigating, while the Marine gained additional equipment like a shoulder lamp, hacking device, and welding tool. The Predator's arsenal was also enhanced with new weapons such as the net gun and combistic, and all characters had more detailed and varied ability. Moreover, its multiplayer was a blast with deathmatch, team deathmatch, and unique modes like Hunt and Survivor, letting you play as Marines, Predators, Aliens, or even the Iron Bears. The game even introduced the Predalien, a terrifying hybrid in the Primal Hunt expansion. However, this game was not that well liked by the general audience and remains a niche title loved by die-hard fans of the franchise.
They knew the risks and the reward. Let us make sure they're...
Aliens vs. Predator 2, Primal Hunt, 2002. Developed by Third Law Interactive and published by Sierra Entertainment and Fox Interactive, Primal Hunt is a prequel to Aliens vs. Predator 2, filling in the backstory of the mysterious planet LV-191 and the enigmatic artifact that's at the heart of all the chaos. You get 3 new campaigns: Corporate, basically a human mercenary named Dunya, a Predator, and a Predalien, the terrifying hybrid you faced in the main game. Each campaign is set in 2 different time periods, about 500 years before the main game's events and just 5 weeks prior, revealing how the destruction of Research Pod 5 went down and why the Predators are so obsessed with LV-101 in the first place. Gameplay is typical AvP2, first-person action with all the tension and terror you'd expect. The corporate campaign is a relentless gauntlet of running battle, with swarms of aliens, mostly runners, dropping in from every corner. The Predator campaign is more of the same, cloaking, stalking, and using new toys like the energy flechette gun. But the Predalien is the real star here. As the Predalien, you're a fast, powerful hybrid, and the campaign is a blast, literally and figuratively, even if it's a bit short. But what truly makes Primal Hunt a loved artifact is its story, which ties everything together, and the new multiplayer maps and Predalien playable character are great additions. That said, the expansion is sometimes criticized for leaning too hard on throwing hordes of aliens at you, turning some levels into a test of patience and quick saving rather than skill. Aliens vs. Predator Extinction, 2003. This title swapped out the usual first-person action for a tactical, squad-based battlefield where you command Marines, aliens, or Predators, each with their own unique playstyle and objectives. As the Colonial Marines, you're a mobile strike force with a roster of specialized troops, infantry, flamethrowers, snipers, and even the iconic exosuits. You earn credits by repairing atmosphere processors and taking down enemies. Then use that cash to reinforce your ranks and upgrade your unit. The Alien campaign is perhaps the most inventive, leveraging the species' life cycle as a core gameplay mechanic. Players begin with a queen who lays eggs that hatch into facehuggers. These facehuggers can then infest host creatures, spawning a variety of alien types, from agile runners to formidable Praetorians. If the queen falls in battle, a Praetorian can assume her role, ensuring the hive's survival. Predator gameplay, by contrast, is built around the concept of honor. Players earn honor points by collecting trophies, typically the skulls of fallen enemies, which are then used to summon new units at the shrine. The Predator roster is diverse, featuring brawlers, hunters, and specialized units like Spearmasters and Discmasters. Most Predators can cloak, but this ability drains energy, requiring strategic use. However, the game wasn't without its flaws. The game's short campaign was a common point of criticism, with many reviewers pointing out issues with the game's AI, including pathing and enemy behavior. Nonetheless, the game succeeds in capturing the essence of the AvP universe, offering a fresh perspective for fans willing to embrace its strategic approach. Alien vs. Predator, Dodge 4. Released to coincide with the cinematic release of Alien vs. Predator, this mobile adaptation by Superscape offers a compact, if somewhat conventional, side-scrolling action experience. The game draws its narrative and setting directly from the film, placing players inside the icy pyramid beneath Antarctica, where humans, aliens, and predators collide in a deadly contest for survival. Players can select from 3 protagonists, Lex, Sebastian, or Miller, each loosely modeled after their film counterparts. The gameplay is straightforward: platforming, combat, and light puzzle solving, with players navigating through a series of levels that mimic the film's claustrophobic, trap-laden environment. Its faithfulness to the source material is what sets this title apart. Unlike many movie tie-ins, Alien vs. Predator 2004 for mobile does not feel like a generic action game hastily rebranded. Instead, it offers a condensed but faithful recreation of the film's key moments, making it a worthwhile experience for fans of the franchise or those seeking a nostalgic trip back to the era of feature phone gaming. In summary, while it may not break new ground, Alien vs. Predator 2004 for mobile is a competent and respectful adaptation that stands out among its peers for its attention to detail and thematic consistency. Alien vs. Predator 3D, 2005. A year after its side-scrolling version of Alien vs. Predator, Superscape bought the franchise back into our pockets, but this time in 3D. The game adopts a rail shooter framework, placing players in the role of a human explorer who inadvertently triggers a sequence of events by discovering a Predator artifact at a remote temple site. The narrative, while minimal, sets the stage for the ensuing chaos, as players quickly find themselves facing off against both xenomorphs and predators in a series of tightly scripted encounters. The gameplay is all about quick reflexes and sharp shooting. You control a firing cursor on screen, and if you move it to the edge, the camera will pan a bit, letting you catch enemies before they're fully in view. The targeting system is smart, snapping your reticule to the nearest threat as soon as you get close, which is a huge help when you're swarmed by facehuggers or dodging plasma blasts. The rail shooter format keeps the action moving fast, and the levels are packed with atmosphere, abandoned whaling stations, eerie temples, and plenty of dark corners for things to jump out at you. Despite trying their best, the game was not perfect. Reviews were mixed, and it's not the deepest experience out there. But for series devotees or anyone who remembers the thrill of early mobile 3D, it's a fun, nostalgic trip. Aliens vs. Predator Requiem 2007, developed by Rebellion. Development's this PSP exclusive third-person action game tried to capture the chaos of the movie, but ended up being a quick, messy, and oddly satisfying handheld hunt. You play as a predator dispatched to Gunnison, Colorado, tasked with eradicating a xenomorph infestation following a crashed ship. While the premise is familiar to fans of the film, the execution is distinctly tailored for portable play. Gameplay is straightforward third-person action. You'll earn honor points for stylish kills and stealth, but lose them for killing humans, though sometimes you have no choice. At the end of each mission, you can upgrade your gear, which is a nice touch for a handheld title. The health bar regenerates after kills, and your energy powers your weapons and cloak. There's also a skirmish mode where you try to rack up as many kills as possible in 5 minutes, and you can play co-op locally with a friend, making this one of the few PC games to offer multiplayer predator action. Graphically, the game is unremarkable, with dated visuals and environments that lack detail. Controls can feel cumbersome, particularly when aiming in first person, though the core action remains accessible. And critics weren't kind, calling it just another typical movie tie-in, but those invested in the universe, or anyone who loves a good handheld shooter, might find some guilty pleasure here. Aliens vs. Predator 2010. This is the game that tried to recapture the magic of the earlier classics while giving each species its own unique flavor, and for the most part, it delivered. The game is structured around 3 distinct campaigns, each tailored to one of the franchise's iconic species. The Colonial Marine campaign is perhaps the most faithful to the spirit of the original films, emphasizing survival horror over run-and-gun action. In contrast, the Alien campaign offers a far more kinetic experience. Playing as a xenomorph, players can skitter along walls and ceilings, using stealth and agility to ambush unsuspecting Marines and Predators. The Predator campaign, meanwhile, is a study in patience and precision. With access to cloaking technology, thermal vision, and an array of advanced weaponry, players must stalk their prey, picking off enemies one by one, and using the environment to their advantage. Each campaign is relatively short, but the variety in gameplay ensures that the experience never grows stale. Multiplayer is where Aliens vs. Predator truly shine, offering a range of modes that pit the 3 species against each other in chaotic, asymmetrical battles. The balance between Marines, Aliens, and Predators is carefully tuned, ensuring that no single faction feels overpowered. Matches are tense and unpredictable, with each species requiring a different approach and skill set. In summary, Aliens vs. Predator 2010 is a thoughtful and well-crafted revival of the franchise. It may not reach the heights of the original PC version, but it offers a compelling mix of horror, action, and strategy that will satisfy both longtime fans and newcomers to the series. AvP Evolution 2013. With AvP Evolution, Angry Mob Games set out to deliver a substantial Alien vs. Predator experience, tailored for touchscreens and the Ouya console. The result is a third-person action game that balances accessibility with the complexity expected from a title bearing this legendary license. The narrative is typical alien versus predator fare. On a distant planet, the super predators have set up a temple as a training ground and captured the alien queen to control her hive. Naturally, things go south and you're caught in the middle. Choose the predator and you're a young warrior out to prove yourself and take down the super predators. Choose the alien and you're on a mission to free your queen from slavery and wreak havoc. Naturally, both campaigns intersect with human forces, ensuring the time-honored three-way conflict remains intact. Gameplay is a mix of third-person brawling and shooting, with a control scheme that's easy to pick up. Move with one thumb, attack with the other, and dash or block as needed. The combat is fluid and combo-heavy, with a wide range of moves for each species. As the alien, you'll slash, pounce, and even spit acid, while the predator gets wrist blades, combistics, plasma casters, and more. Critical reception was mixed. Some reviewers praised the game's ambition and faithfulness to the source material, while others criticized its repetitive combat and occasional technical hiccup. Regardless, AvP Evolution stands as one of the more ambitious attempts to bring the Alien vs. Predator universe to handheld and micro-console platform. Marvelous verdict. And that's every Predator and Alien vs. Predator game ever made. These games have done more than just adapt the movies. They've expanded the lore, given the Predator and the aliens their own terrifying personalities, and let fans step right into the hunt. To be honest, most of these games were not up to the mark, and I'm sure fans would love an open-world Predator game, having an awesome story where the Predator goes planet to planet, collecting trophies to earn more honor and gear. If you enjoyed this video, let us know which games you've played and loved in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more awesome gaming content. See you in the next video.